I've helped over 100 drone pilots start their business or take their drone business to the next level. And most of the time across the board, once pilots get good enough at operating drones and providing a good quality product, usually the main bottleneck is just figuring out the marketing. How do I find clients? How do I find jobs? And how do I charge more? Now, I did a workshop about 2 or 3 weeks ago, really covering this in depth. And I want to share about a 15-minute snippet with you that really covers my high level strategy of what I've implemented over the last 7 years, what I've learned, and really what I focus on with my business. Also, what I teach my current clients in the drone crew community to start getting clients, take their business to the next level, and really what bottlenecks are associated with the different levels depending on where you're at. So, give this a watch, check it out. And so we don't want to like market something like so amazing, and then it finally gets here, and then the client's like, "Man, this sucks. Like I'm not working with you again." Because we want to have that compounding result with our business. Does that make sense? So mastering the marketing, I'm sure like this is kind of really why we're all pretty much here. Like, how do I market my business better? So I want to just kind of dive into this and give you really first off, like what I'm not doing and what I am doing, right? So when it comes to our marketing, got to understand like the differences between inbound and outbound, and we've got to have a good strategy for each, right? We got to have a way for people to find us. We've got to be able to attract the right clients, just like becoming that trusted drone expert. But we've also got to have a way to get inbound leads where people are finding us, right? So the inbound and the outbound, let me go out and find these clients directly, and then hopefully they can find me as well. And so once we're good enough with our content, once we're good enough with our drone ops, now let's push forward and start building out the portfolio, making sure that we're showing everything that we need to. Because I say it a lot, like you could be the best drone pilot in the world, but if no one knows about you, you're not getting paid. It's crickets. And so we've got to focus on getting our name out there and not just hoping that someone's going to find us one day. So what I'm not doing right now, I'm not doing Instagram organic. I'm not doing Instagram ads. I'm not doing Yelp ads. I'm sure they're calling you a bunch if you have a business listing or anything like that. I'm also not doing like email newsletters. Why? Well, one, I'm sure a lot of you guys are like, didn't I see you on an ad? So keep in mind, like how I market like for education and how I like built my coaching program is completely different than how I market my drone business. Why? Really important piece is business to consumer versus business to business. When it comes to your drone business, we are all, I would say 95% of the stuff we do is going to be B2B. And there's so many people online. There's so many people that want to tell us like, oh, here's how we can market. We can do XYZ, just post more content, post more education. But at the end of the day, like that's a B2C strategy. And for me, like 5% of my clients are buying from me because of they're wanting like a keepsake for their family, or they're wanting to like, print something on their, on their wall. Most of the time, 95% of the time, it's someone or a business that's using it for monetary value or safety or helping track progress, whatever it is. It's not like just a keepsake of, hey, I want to do it. And so a lot of like photographers, since they are targeting like families, they're targeting individuals, they're targeting wedding people, those are all consumers. And so we can run ads that are B2C like heavy on Instagram, like on TikTok. But if we're running TikTok ads, if we're running Instagram ads, like chances are, if I'm looking for a construction manager, he's not scrolling Instagram going, man, I got to find a drone pilot for this job. Like he's probably searching Google going, hey, what drone service providers are in my area locally that I can connect with? Maybe they're on LinkedIn, but it's not like we've got to just make sure like we're not putting all our time into something that's B2C friendly, because we are business to business. Like what I shoot is going to add value to a film, a video, for marketing, for whatever purposes. That's not just for someone to have fun with and enjoy. Right. So that's not what I'm doing. Obviously, I run ads on on Instagram for my coaching business on how to get people educated on how to grow their business as well. But that is really still B2C in a way. Like I'd say it's kind of like in between. It's like B2B, B2C, because obviously you guys are building the business to make money, but it's individuals, right? It's different. And so I can educate. Not doing Yelp ads, not doing email opt-ins. Not doing that because it's all B2C. And so what I focus on now, I want you guys to write this down, is the big three. So when it comes to the online presence, the big three, number one, we want to have a dialed website connected to our SEO that actually shows up in search results. Two, we want to back it up with our Google business listing. And then three, we want to double down when things start working in Google Ads. So I started running Google Ads probably 6 years ago, haven't stopped. Actually, when I was transitioning from Indiana to Las Vegas, I started spending like $1,000 a month on ads going directly to a Las Vegas page for my business. So that way I had clients that I was already talking to, like in the client workflow before I even moved into town. And then I started booking jobs from that. And then obviously I transitioned. But first off, we got to make a caveat, like we don't want to run like any sort of ads. Like even if you're like, hey, I don't believe you, Jacob, I want to run Google ads or I want to run Instagram ads, totally great. The only thing that we have to make sure that is happening is you are what's called getting organic conversions. So I live in Las Vegas. I personally don't gamble, and I definitely don't want you guys to gamble with your ad budget, any money that you're putting into the business. And when you don't have something that's converting organically, you are basically gambling with your money, right? Like we need to make sure, say it's like, hey, I've got Facebook going and people are finding me, people are hiring me. Great. Okay. Now we can start running it because organically you're getting conversions. Me personally, I didn't have a network when I was in Indiana because my wife kind of brought me there. I didn't know anyone. And I just had to kind of start from scratch building out the network. And so if you have like a ton of people in your network, like one, we've got to rebrand, establish ourselves as the trusted drone expert. Like, hey, I'm flying drones now with a megaphone. Every single person that you know should know the three industries that you're targeting, the three ideal clients that you work for. Because otherwise, like those people know you and like you. Hopefully, some of them trust you. But like we've got to get every single one of our clients to know us, like us, trust us before they ever buy from us, right? So for me, what I did was I built my website, I doubled down on SEO, started showing up in search results because I was testing things. One thing you got to do is connect your site to Google Search Console because a website can be online for years and never get crawled and put in search results. You have to actually do that yourself. And so did that, got my Google business listing up, started getting people filling out my contact form, started getting organic conversions from the site. And then I was like, okay, this is working. Now I'm going to double down on obviously how it looks, the style, just make my branding a little better. But then I'm also going to add Google Ads to it because it was already converting organically. So now I can run paid ads knowing like really like the any ad is just a magnifying glass. It's really just fuel that you can use, and you've got to have an already burning fire if it's actually going to work, right? If we don't have a fire and we're just dumping fuel onto the thing, yeah, it's not safe, but it's not going to ignite unless we've got something that's already going, right? So we've got to make sure that it's not broken before we start throwing dollars behind it. So the big three, like I said, website, SEO, Google business listing. Like I said, I got 60 plus 5-star reviews, and then we've got Google ads going. Really what it comes down to is this is intention-based searching. And a lot of the stuff, a lot of the ads that we see on social media, those are pattern interrupt awareness ads, which means people aren't searching for your service or for what you're doing when they see that. But on Google, it's like, hey, I need to find a drone service provider in Las Vegas. Like, I want to make sure that I'm coming up for that. And that's usually 20% of the people that we could be working with right now have the intention of buying. They're looking at booking you for a project. They're looking at someone in your local area. Like we've got to be showing up with that intention-based search. And then my goal has always been, hey, I get the 20% of that, and then I get that to compound for me once I do an exceptional job for the client, over deliver, and then I turn them into a recurring client. And so then it starts becoming more and more of my business, it starts becoming a compounding asset. Then we've got the 80% that aren't necessarily thinking about buying your services right now, but would absolutely benefit if you were able to make the pitch. So there's a lot of clients that I've worked with over the years that I know would never have hired a drone pilot. But because I built rapport, I built trust, I built credibility with them for a long enough time locally, when something came up, when they were like, hey, we're expanding to a new building, like this is going to be the new building we're going to be having for the next 20 years, and we want to get progress updates to see and track that progress. We want the time lapse. It sounds like you do that, right? Like they would never have like reached out unless I educated them beforehand on what I was doing. So that comes down to the 80% of people that we're needing to talk about what we're doing, provide value as a local expert, and keep showing up locally. And we don't want to do that just like on Instagram, because a lot of times, even if I get traction on Instagram, like a lot of guys in the program get to a few thousand followers, a lot of those followers are other drone pilots. And it's like, okay, well, they're other drone pilots and they're potentially not located near my area. Like social media works really well when you dial into the location of your area. So I'd recommend for all of you guys, if you're wanting to build a business, you're wanting to use social media, I would go out and follow 1,000 businesses like today or tomorrow on Instagram and start just getting a pulse for what they're doing and who they're helping, events that are going on. Like we just had a coffee shop open up near me in Las Vegas, and it's a new build. They had like a soft launch. It's going to be free coffee. If I wanted to book some like work and like maybe do a free job for them, maybe not, like I would start the conversation, be like, hey, I'm super excited you guys are opening up over here, like I'm happy to like come in and get some free coffee, and then I'm gonna actually get some drone footage of the opening. Like, oh yeah, we weren't thinking about that, but like who would say no to that? Like who doesn't want to have that for a special event that's only going to happen one time? They're going to do a soft launch once, a hard launch once. Like they want to get content for that. And a lot of times we're stuck in our caves right here, like my little Zoom cave, waiting for people to have enough interest to reach out to us. And keep in mind, that's the 20%. That's not our 80% of people that we could go out and start connecting with and just building the relationship to say, hey, I'm just going to go out and shoot for you. I'm just going to add you as a collaborator so that way you can see the work that I've done. And people in my program have gotten licensing deals from work that they've just added on Instagram, added as collaborators. Then the person, the business goes, hey, like we actually want to use this in our content. We want to use this for our own stuff. How do we license it from you? It's like, because I built that relationship like little by little. And so I want you guys to be thinking when it comes to getting paid jobs, no matter where we're at in this line, no matter where we're at in the staircase, how can I lead with value first? Like, how can I lead with value versus waiting for someone to pay me, or versus waiting for someone to say, hey, I'm interested? Like, if we're not flying every single week, we're not building the business. So we need to be going out on a weekly basis, whether we got a paid job, free job, whatever it is. Like we've got to be going out with the intention of providing value to our clients or potential clients. Well, I hope you got some value from that and you took some notes. And I hope that you implement some of those strategies and start getting some more clients this year in your drone business. Now, the rest of the workshop was about an hour long. I can put a link to it below. If you want to check that out, go ahead and jump in there. That'll be the entire workshop where I did live, so you could get some value from there as well. But if you're interested in having me and my team come alongside you to help you really grow your drone business this year, and it's like, hey, what does the drone crew look like? Like, how can I fit? Does it work for me? I'd love for you to set up a time with my team to chat a little bit more about your goals, where you're at, and really where you wanted to get to, just to make sure you would be a good fit for the program. And I can really help you get to the next level. So go ahead, book in a time below. Keep in mind, I only do work with licensed 107 pilots in the United States. So if you don't have your license yet, go ahead and get that first, and then come and hit me up after you get the 107. But fly safe out there, and hopefully you got some value. Let's start making money flying drones.